Hey folks, this is Darth checking in with you. I just finished watching the first episode of Amazon's Wheel of Time, Leavetakings, and want to do a quick, hopefully 10-minute or less review of it. There's some things I want to talk about here that are going to be related to specifically this episode, and then later I will tell you when I'm going to talk about a part that relates not only to the episode, but also to things that you won't know about if you haven't read the books. So when that part comes, I'll let you know. Hey, it's probably the time for you to end the video if you haven't read them. That way we don't spoil big things for you, okay? So, just hopping in on episode 1 here, I thought that overall this was a good episode to introduce people to the world of the Wheel of Time. It felt a little heavy, and it felt a little fast for what they're wanting to do, but overall good. You know, there are definitely changes between what happens in the books and what happens in the show, but thankfully those changes seem to be relegated to set up for events that still occur. And they also seem to be mostly relegated to secondary characters. So, you know, the way that I'll frame this, the way that I'll say this for those of you who haven't read books, it's like if you put down a checklist of things that happen in the Wheel of Time, in the Eye of the World, the first book of the Wheel of Time. And on that checklist, you've got, you know, meet the characters. Lan and Moraine come to the Two Rivers, Trollocs attack, etc., right? You're checking the boxes. But the path to getting to those points is completely different. And as a longtime book reader, that was really surprising to me. There was a lot that I could engage with, but I found myself more speculating on what changes we're going to do, what impact this and that had, why this direction was taken. For me, it pulled me out of it a little bit, but I don't know if it'll be that same way for a general audience. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm not one of those people who's immediately critical when something is different from what they expected. So I'm still very curious to see where it's going to go, which in and of itself is a measure of success. Strengths of the episode. Right off the bat, I gotta say, I'm a big fan of Egwene's character. The actress that's playing her is doing a great job. Barney Harris is unfortunately not going to be in season 2, but I thought he did a really good job with Matt. I like that character a lot. Paddon Fane also stood out to me. And Daniel Henney. Those performances were really strong, I thought. Paddon Fane's played by Amir Abdullah. I think I might have his name wrong. Sorry if I do. But the cinematography was good, except for during the battle scenes. I felt like the battle scenes had too many zoom pans and too many really like quick jump cuts. It was a little frenetic, and also just too much shaky cam. I don't know if that's something that will get better with time and experience, but, you know, the sort of cinematography that you want to display during action sequences absolutely should be faster paced. However, not at the, I don't know what word I was going to use there. Not at the cost of the audience being able to tell accurately what's happening in that action sequence. And to me, it felt like some of that was to the detriment of the audience. That's the word. So I think that the action could use a little bit more work. And I also thought that as a whole, it was just a little overly jumpy. Now, that said, there were a lot of cool things. Trollocs looked great. Some of them were running around on all fours, and I loved that. I thought that was really cool. I thought that channeling looked a lot better than I had initially been concerned it would during trailers. And there was really good drama in those scenes. They were put together in such a way that they kept emotional impact going through the whole sequence, especially bits like Perrin accidentally killing his wife. I mean, that was harsh, you know. And yeah, just overall a good episode. I'm curious to see where it goes. I think it had a few quibbles and differences, which I'm still trying to process, but we'll just have to see, right? Okay, folks, and with that said, I'm going to give this first episode a 7 out of 10. And for those of you who haven't read the books, this is a good time to step away. Spoilers for the series coming. Okay, guys, we got to talk about these changes because, you know, I've been somebody that's been downplaying what changes could do to the story, but it took me a while to recognize anything from the Wheel of Time here. I mean, not like a minute, like 15, 20. This story is an entirely different introduction to the series, with Leandrin chasing the man who can channel. Obviously, they're doing that to set up what madness is like, and then they're going to show us Logain to show the deadliness of men who can channel, and then later on, we'll get to see Rand seeing a second person who would be Lews Therin jumping around. And that setup's pretty cool. I did love that Tam's little monologue about Beltane with Rand is exactly the point of the whole series, and the sort of thing that he explains to Rand, or that Rand figures out on his own on Dragonmount. That was pretty excellent to me. I was really excited about that. Nynaeve's been carted away, so we don't know where she's gone to, but we've seen trailers, so we know that she's about to kill a Trolloc in the water. They did some things here as homages to Game of Thrones, trying to capture that audience, and that was really, I understand why they did it. I didn't think it was necessary for the show. Things such as having a bunch of dead goats in the shape of the Aes Sedai symbol. I was grateful for the callback to something in the mountains pushing the wolves down towards them. That was a nice reference from the book. And gosh, what else was there? Oh, just this entire thing was significantly less subtle. That's really, I didn't want to say that before we got into book stuff, because I didn't want a non-book reader to think that the show's being, like, you know, botched or something. And it's not yet. We don't know anything like that. But in general, the show, at least episode 1, is incredibly less subtle than anything Robert Jordan ever wrote. From Maren Sedai calling Moraine Aes Sedai in the common room, to Nynaeve not ever taking her hand off of the knife for some reason, to the conversation Moraine had with Nynaeve where she was fishing for her age, to just everything. Perrin now has clearly a reason for worrying about how, you know, he can get if he loses control or doesn't take care. We're definitely going to understand where he's coming from on that, I guess. But these are just some really big overarching changes. And I didn't want to fuss about this to non-book readers, but did channeling look just silly to anybody else? I can't see Rand al'Thor doing that with Callandor in his hand while fighting the Shan-Chan. I can't see Nynaeve doing it while running away from Suroth's people after Egwene gets collared. You know, that would be silly, and I know that Rosamund Pike mentioned that she wanted to bring a lot of character and emotion to her channeling, so maybe it's a Moraine thing, but, I don't know, it felt a touch overly dramatic whenever I saw it, which is interesting, because I really liked the rest of her performance. She did a good job with her facial expressions and raising an eyebrow here and that kind of thing. So we're just going to have to see where it goes, folks. I'm still absolutely excited about to start episode 2, and we should have more to talk about after that. Y'all have a great night.